Okay.
Hello.
Let's see if everything's working as intended here.
I've put the Twitch chat widget in, so if you want to test something in Twitch chat, see if it turns
Yeah,
up.
that's what I'm trying to do. Let's see. This must work, right? Oh no. I've lost my bearing already.
Woohoo, it worked.
Yay. I think. Oh yeah, it's gonna take a second. Now let's see if this works.
Hey, people happy.
Ah, good. Everything's working as intended. Took me a while to fit it with the CSS, so everything's on the left.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've even enabled all the better Twitch TV emotes and all that on mine. Which one did you use?
Yeah, I'm using
Better.
7 TV.
Oh, 7. Okay. Oh, might as well log in then.
I think I only enabled a few though.
Or even animated ones. Fancy.
Yeah. It's almost like we know what we're doing.
Almost. Almost.
Almost.
Oh, a visit our merchant. This is the content we get for being delayed. Some
Yeah,
free
well.
primos, some green books.
Oh yeah, that's some coping. Does pre-stream questions count if you're submitted after you technically started? I guess they count. I mean, anything to take up 1 or 2 minutes of stream time. Really, you guys had like free reign to like ask anything. Could ask, what our favorite color is. Which one's our favorite Spice Girl.
Oh, Jesus, that's a band I haven't heard in a while. Probably not worth using the pre-stream questions thread at this point, though. Just in the event no mic channel would be better.
Yeah, or in the Twitch chat, there's plenty of ways to interact with us.
I think they're giving us
Spice.
lore with Lyben turning up this time, talking about this village that's the quickest way to get to Fontaine.
Yeah, except like who's gonna remember? You know what I mean? Like once you're done with this event, whatever this guy says, it's just gonna be flushed from memory. What's my favorite color? Uh, I think it's gonna be like FE, FE, FE. Just a very subtle white. What's your favorite color, Stay? If you happen to have one.
Oh, I don't know, it depends on the day of the week, I think. I don't really have a particular favorite color. I'm kind of boring. I
Damn,
suppose
bro,
when,
that's
when I was
boring.
younger, it was edgy. It's like, oh, it's black. It's always black. But yeah,
Always black. Gothic black.
but then I
No, I
painted a
think
car black, and that was a bad idea because black is bloody hot in the Australian sun.
oh yeah, you must like absorb a ton of heat.
Yeah, like whose stupid idea was it to paint a car black? Oh, that was mine. Ah,
Yeah. I think during high school I had a phase where everything I wear has got to be dark colors. It's like, well, I don't know how to color coordinate. You just monocolor. Hmm. It seems like you've actually spent quite a lot of time writing new issues on our GitHub.
I have anything to help.
Anything to help. 52 issues, and I think you've written at least 40 of them.
Oh, and that's not closed. That's not counting the one that's been closed already.
No, I think would be. I think it's getting to the point where you're opening them faster than we can close them, which is like exactly the opposite trajectory of my crystalline spine collection. Eventually, it's going to be hard to condense my resin.
I'll have to go farm some bloody crystal flies every day.
Ugh, imagine having to play Genshin just so you could play less Genshin.
I'm already at the point I can't level any more of your talents, which is frustrating. I don't want to go farm bloody Nobushi all day just to level up talents.
Oh no. And I still haven't unlocked that foggy island, so good luck farming those dogs.
Oh, I don't care. I'm not going to unlock that island for you. That's
Yeah,
your content.
that's my dopamine to reap. Your entirely horizontal content. I'm entirely vertical content on this account. Not a bad division of labor. We both get a bit of dopamine from the account.
Well,
And
now
then
the
the account
banners have
doesn't
been
seem
extended. I can
regretful.
keep wishing on the weapon banner for you.
I don't know, man.
Get this
We're not
R2 unforged for you.
R2 on Forge to put on my neglected Ito.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'll ever have a chance to level him up.
I didn't pull for Ito on my account, but he seems fun to play, but probably not fun enough if you've already got a whole other bunch of Claymore characters leveled up. Is there enough difference? I don't know.
Yeah. Eventually you'll reach mark as duplicate status. Yeah, let's see how many of these issues we could mark as duplicates. Actually, you've been pretty good at wording them so they don't seem like duplicates, eh? I mean, like, build constraint button colors, it probably fall under the overarching we choose terrible colors for the website issue. Oh yeah, that's true. There is an inconsistency here. Well, we'll fix those up. I think the amount of times we've been staring at these buttons and changing colors have been quite astounding over the last 2 weeks. Messing around
Yeah.
with the color of buttons, messing around with the size of buttons.
Yep. We'll
Like
get it. We'll
all
get
of
there
these
eventually.
changes are incredibly subtle. Like I don't think for the average user they're gonna realize that we've made these changes until like because once the website's updated, they have no reference point to a previous website.
No.
Hey, why didn't Sucrose sweep that up? What the heck?
I thought you should have. Maybe they want to use Hydro.
Hmm. I swear a Nemo should work. I really wish they did more with this cat shrine thing.
I think I accidentally finished the quest for you.
Oh yeah?
Because there is a quest about, the story of the cat.
Yeah,
And
but like I've
yeah.
mhm.
But when I went to the shrine, when Yai was blocking one of the dailies, there was another quest there. I'm like, oh, this must be it. And it was
Oh
the
no.
end of the cat ones. I hope you didn't want that.
Oh, it's fine. I barely remember what's needed. I feel like they could have definitely done a lot more with this cat area. You know, the coming back multiple times to build the cat statue, so you could like see a progression in like manifested in your world. I think that was super cool. They could have done a lot more with it. Like just continually have these quests to clean up the dilapidated shrine. Eventually, you become like a modern clean shrine instead of just a bunch of boards nailed together.
Yeah, I did expect the guy making the statue and all that would do a little bit more.
Yeah, I felt like they missed a great opportunity. He was staying around here. You might as well get him since he's a carpenter. Get him to like fix up the shrine and everything.
これが海山を滅ぼした力だ。直律流。
Oh man, that little balloon just flying further and further away from the edge.
It's all good. Remember when they first came out and everyone hated these things?
I mean, I still eat them. I usually run the primarily melee team. Sometimes, especially like if you're fighting them on a slope, they just like fly too high.
Yeah. I think they have the issue with characters with vertical mobility where if you go too high in the air, like with climbing Zhongli's pillar or Kazuha's jump, they'll adjust to you and they'll also go higher, so you can't reach them again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then yeah, they just steadily go higher until they're just unreachable. Yeah, it's annoying. There's a question: is there a chance for Android version of Genshin Optimizer in the future? I would say extremely to very unlikely. But I think I've tried to explore this option. There are things we could do to carry over the website into an app, but I mean we're still a very small development team, so really the biggest problem with getting something like this is do we have enough developer time for it? And I can't justify maintaining a separate version of the website that's pretty much the same thing but different enough that's gonna suck up a lot of development time. It's a bit unfortunate. We'll try to make it so that the website is more mobile accessible, and every time we add like new UI element, we're always testing against smaller resolutions of screens. So the optimizer will always be like relatively usable on the mobile. It's definitely not going to be as usable as desktop, but that's simply because there's just too much information to be crammed into such a tiny screen. But at least we'll make sure all the core features are accessible on mobile. And I think like maybe like 10% of our GitHub issues are just mobile stuff. Is there a custom rotation option planned? DPS, yes and no. This is kind of like a feature that's always being in planning, and it's I guess what we call multi-target optimization. It's not going to be DPS as in damage per second, simply because the optimizer is never going to calculate any value over time. That requires a lot more information that we have, frame counting, uh, time deltas and stuff that would just make the system arbitrarily difficult to calculate. But it should be eventually we have a feature where you could optimize for maybe like I don't know 3 normal plus a skill plus a burst plus something, and it will just try to maximize the sum of those values. And you as an end user should be able to put in your own weights. So this will be really useful for someone like Child who has a non 100% chance to vape. You could put in a custom weight for whether uh maybe like I don't know 1 vape, 1 normal, or something like that. So things like this. I mean, this feature will be. I hesitate to give any time for it simply because this is a really big feature. We have been steadily making changes to be able to accommodate that. Our recent Wave Rider engine should make this feature relatively easy to implement, at least in terms of the logic side, but in terms of getting all the actual structure in place and getting the UI in place, that's still going to take some time. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Fortnite Chamber 1. Is my level 1 Mona gonna make an appearance again today?
Oh, she certainly has.
I think this is almost becoming a meme at this point. At this point, we can't even afford to level the Mona.
No.
How are we gonna do future Abyss with level 10 Mona? You know, it just doesn't make sense.
And she's gonna have to stay level 1 forever now.
Yeah. And then you're gonna have to pay extra attention if you're farming like friendship for her or something, not to like accidentally level her up.
I'm not too concerned about that. She might even be level 10 already, I'm not sure.
Oh no.
I think she's been in the teapot for forever.
Yeah, no, she's been in the teapot. Yeah, I think I put her in the teapot like over half a year ago. I just left her there. So it very well might be that. Well, let's see. We should, even though you're indirectly controlling my account, I should still be able to have access indirectly using Genshin. Oh no, you didn't put her in the showcase in Genshin.
Oh yeah, I think I've turned your showcase back to your meme stuff.
The bench warmers.
Yeah.
And you guys are. You guys are thinking about what we're talking about. This is the new Genshin website. And you know, it's intended to be very flashy. It shows all your artifacts and weapons and stuff. But I've misappropriated by showing my less than level 1 characters.
Yeah, level 1 Ayaka. Oh, hang on, here's your level 1 Ito with Unforged. There we go.
Yeah.
No artifacts equipped. I don't think I even put Mona in there. No, I took her out because I wanted to show everything with no artifacts.
Yeah. Oh right, you did put some artifacts on my Mona.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
Poor girl
would be
needs
a very
something.
interesting. That would be a very interesting thing to put through the optimizer. Optimizing for a level 1 character.
Well, I already have.
Because...
So if we go back to Mona, where is she?
I'm assuming the optimizer is gonna at least indirectly try to get more flat stats, since that would scale better with a level 1 character.
So I forced Noblesse because I'm using her as a support with Thrilling Tales,
right?
And just optimized for her burst damage. But I don't know what else would be better, considering that's all you use her for. You swap in, press Q, swap out.
Yeah,
and it's given a decent enough build. 73 crit rate, 121 crit damage.
Yeah, considering this is a level 1 Mona, this is...
It hasn't really prioritized energy recharge, though. I wonder when that comes in. Is it one of her Ascension passives, maybe?
Yeah, that's her Ascension passive. It makes sense that that's not prioritized at all because it's not in effect.
Yeah.
I don't think. Let's see, where's this?
Yeah, so it's Ascension 4. Hydro damage increases with energy recharge. So because it's not in effect, Optimizer has ignored that.
Yeah. A very smart program, I may add.
Oh, yeah. Who made this?
Very smart. Yeah, very smart people who made this website, eh?
みんながそばにいてくれる。雨描きがたし。この件はわかるかい？見切りました。
So what? I mean, at this point, I think everyone either knew about it or have seen enough memes about it. What do you think about the lack of, I guess, what we're predicting to be a content drought in the foreseeable future?
I'm not too concerned. I mean, I think their excuse is good enough.
It's not much of an excuse, is it? The events happening in Shanghai is, for lack of a better word, atrocious.
Yeah, it really is. It's not them as a company failing, it's the situation they've been forced into. And I think we should just accept that.
Right. Well, my original question is more catered towards you because, like, if Genshin lacks content for me, that's perfectly fine for us because if anything, Optimizer is horizontal content, right? So like, it basically is creating more endgame content for you. But like for you specifically, saying you only really play Genshin at this point. So how are you going to cope with the lack of Genshin content? Are you touching more grass to compensate?
Oh, or probably there's enough grass happening at the moment. Yeah, well, because Genshin is essentially my only game, I don't play a lot anyway. So the difference between a 40-minute play session and a 20-minute play session isn't really that bad. Right. It doesn't bother me all that much.
Right. I think the most you really spend on the game is like when we're doing these kind of streams, eh?
Yeah. The weekend would be the longest time I spend on it because I can do, the Abyss and all the condensed resin you've been saving up for a Sunday and all that kind of stuff. And then maybe on Monday as well, when you get the weekly reset, you got a few other bounties and things you can smash out. And then the rest of the week, it's an easy casual game. I mean, that's enough for me. Old man game.
I mean, wait, is it really an old man game if it's full of anime waifus?
Old men can like anime waifus? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not disparaging. I'm saying traditionally speaking. Hey, I don't kink shame around here. Whatever floats your boat. Most likely water displacement, but if it's anime waifus, so be it.
見切りました。ここより弱滅の時。
I always wondered, under what capacity can they actually sustain the lack of content? Like, I mean, there's so many events that has happened in the past. I'm surprised they haven't just take one of their previous events, just drag and drop into the game, and at least get people to have more content.
Well, I think early on they cancelled this Spice event, so maybe they sort of expected this to happen because they've brought the Spice event back as a future event in this patch.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Leiden was supposed to come. Maybe they've just chucked him in.
Oh yeah, maybe he's the copy and paste content. Less characters to add means more time to add crit value to go. Yeah, over my bloody dead body. Alright, Spices cancelled, Teapot was under maintenance. I guess that's true as well. I guess the Spices was kind of, at least what I interpreted to be like the finale of the Teapot maintenance. A bit of oops, sorry you can't play this content, but now there's a bit more spice in your life.
I'm not sure they planned the teapot maintenance to be this long. I think the Shanghai situation has messed that up as well.
Probably.
Just give me 1 sec.
I'll allow it.
Or what if I don't?
I mean, not much of a choice. This is a democracy here. This is my show.
That doesn't sound like democracy, is it?
Nope. Complete dictatorship. I have the final say.
Oh, yes.
And because I have the final say, crit value will never be added to the optimizer.
I'm surprised it's still a talk about.
Okay, I'm back. The washing machine was beeping at me. I had to do my chores.
Oh my. Really is the 20th century. Your machines are telling you to do the chores.
That's right.
I'm surprised there aren't more. I'm sure there are, but it hasn't become the mainstream that like your fridge and your washing machines are connected to your phones. It sends you a notification if you let the fridge door open.
Every time the door opens, you get a notification like, "Oh, the kids are in the bloody fridge again."
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I just don't really see a lot of people being like very hyped over this. I think one of my neighbors has like a smart stove where you could connect your stove to the phone, but then that implies that you're connecting your gas stove to the internet.
I think it's just a natural progression of smart connected devices that no one really that excited about it because it's just going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
I guess cool and all.
I guess the stove is like a borderline like fire hazard, but like even like in my own place, the garage door opener is like completely connected to the Wi-Fi. So like if that becomes I guess vulnerable or circumvented, someone could very easily have access to my onboard abode.
I forgot to turn off the stove once, and it was like the fan just suddenly turned on, the fan above the stove, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Which is quite an interesting interaction between like two unconnected pieces in a kitchen.
So the fan turns on when it detects smoke?
Not sure. That should be a fire alarm. I think it's just like a stove being too hot or something, I'm not sure. Because it's quite unique to that scenario.
Right. Oh yeah, Mimi has implemented some JavaScript injection where you could have I guess roll value display. Confirmed to die by 2036. Wow. 14 extra years. I mean, judging by the current geopolitical climate, that's a pretty good time, if nothing else. I'm assuming my toxic life schedule is shortening my lifespan as well. So really, the 2036 seems like more gloom and distant future than I ever think it could be. And that's welcome to my dystopian podcast with me. Man, that got dark fast.
Welcome to the main universe. If you see CV on the Genshin Optimizer, you're in the wrong timeline.
If you see CV in the optimizer, it means I'm dead. Either I'm dead or I've lost interest in the project, whichever one comes first, I guess.
I mean, one is dead but losing power.
Oh, that's a very extreme extrapolation. I guess if you take the centralist belief that you are in the perspective the center of your own universe, then the lack of your existence simply implies the implosion of your universe.
Not necessarily, but at that point there's not much point in a universe existing.
Exactly. if you take an individualist view, you are the center of your universe, and if you no longer exist, the universe as you perceive it doesn't exist. Here's a really grim solution to quantum Vogel sword. So, are you kept up by the thoughts that people might think our optimizer isn't fast enough?
I'll do what I can. People are still gonna complain that it is so damn slow. What?
But are you worried that I'm gonna make some design decisions that are ultimately going to harm the optimizer? I mean, not harm, but rather it slows it down. I mean, if we're going by the logic that well, not the logic, but the progression that we're gonna implement some sort of multi-target optimization, the build time will get slower inherently.
Pretty much every kind of feature will slow things down, like with a few rare exceptions. So it's kind of like a normal progression of things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, weapon optimization. That's something we've been trying to work towards as well. You know, having designing the base UI for it and stuff. So that's gonna, you know, multiply your build time by the number of weapons you have. At the worst case, I guess. At the best case, our very smart pruning algorithm will just eliminate the undesirable weapons from the outset.
As time goes on, the whole weapon optimization is becoming less and less important. As much as I want it, it's just there's no new weapons, and I would have thought Genshin would introduce more and more 4 stars as time went on, but they've been really slack for that.
Yeah, no, the weapon design themselves have been very lackluster. Like now the kids, or now the new weapons introduced seem to bring like a diametric change to anything. Hotel optimizer stress test, I guess so, because it does involve a lot of different stats.
Except when people force a force set on her and then she finishes optimizing in a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's one thing that I'm at least getting a bit hesitant about. People who are forcing force sets are kind of shooting themselves in the foot. Because, you know, they fail to embrace the possibility of a better rainbow.
I think it's still an important feature to have, though, because you might generate your first build with no forced sets, to then realize where you kind of sit and where your account sits, and then you'll see that, oh, okay, my top 10 builds all use the same set, so I can force that set and speed up the generation time.
Yeah, well, I would definitely discourage people from like having no set restriction and have 10 builds. Simply because the more builds you request from the builder, the more time the builder's gonna take to generate those builds.
Yeah, if anything, like the number of builds hurts the performance the most.
Yeah. So and by hurts we don't mean like linearly, we mean like exponentially.
Ooh yes, for sure.
Like at this point, I think if we're ever gonna introduce any of these more expensive calculations, the maximum build I want to cap the maximum build you can generate instead of 10 to maybe like 5. And like, you might just be like a sacrifice that we'll have to make, or else you're gonna be like sitting here for half an hour or even
Oh.
longer.
Well, that said, some people did sit around for a few hours in the old days, so
Well, yeah, but the
Really?
issue with that is like we're multi-threading the build process, right? So you will actually be like pretty much crippling your computer for several hours. And what are people gonna do away from their computer?
well, it's not strictly true, is it? When we now can adjust the number of threads, so like if anything, they can choose it to just waste their computer time themselves, or like just
Yeah, but
go use something else.
I think morally speaking, I don't want to design a feature that causes global warming.
Fair is fair. Well,
I don't want to
You got to
see like,
use those crypto farms for something. Come on.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna burn up your computer like that, you might as well just mine some crypto. But even
okay.
then, I wouldn't advocate for that because it's
Well, now the
still
big organization is gonna start mining cryptos.
yeah. Question is, how about being able to select multiple 4 pieces or 2-piece set? Yeah, so this has come up a lot. We've actually made some engine changes so that you will be able to select multiple 4 pieces and be able to exclude a specific 4 piece and go like shimmer and yeah, so those changes are kind of being planned out. The main reason why I'm kind of hesitating is because I kind of want to remove two-set filter, and this is a very controversial decision. And this is probably a more of a user empowerment issue rather than a one that's for I guess it will definitely contribute to higher build times. But I think people have been using the two-piece filter incorrectly, or rather the website doesn't provide enough information here to empower you to use a two-set filter correctly. Simply because two-set filters, well, two sets, at least Genshin design, are really just basic, boring, flat stats, and that's what the optimizer system is good for. So if you're pre-selecting a two-piece, like you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. You're kind of pre-optimizing against the optimizer, and in terms of end user experience, I kind of don't want that. But of course, that loses the flexibility. What if you want to force a two-piece set just for I don't know, shits and giggles or something? And so that feature will probably have to be either reworked or rephased so that the end user will have to understand selecting a two-set filter will potentially give you a suboptimal build simply because you're restricting the optimizer's availability of artifacts.
Well, for what it's worth, it's like if you force more restriction or there's gonna be less builds, and so like it's gonna spend less time optimizing. So it's gonna be slightly faster. Well, not slightly. It's actually by a lot, depending on your first time pool. Which is like, I guess it's one of the trade-offs that people are willing to make. Some people don't really like waiting, so they might as well.
Yeah, so basically they're fine with waiting like 2 minutes for 90% solution instead of 10 minutes for optimal solution. And we'll have to be able to accommodate for that. So this is why I'm kind of deliberating on what to do about these kind of set filters, because they are like important assets and tools that you use to optimize your builds, but they could also be potentially misleading, and we have to design UI that empower the user to understand that there is a gap, that if you select the two sets, there is a consequence. Sure, the build will be faster, but the build might not be fully optimized. Then maybe there is a hidden rainbow build that gives you better numbers. So
Useful, but people keep misusing it.
yeah. Yeah, much like the exclusion filter, but that's because I haven't designed a replacement feature that that well, that does what people want. Now that we have a priority queue system, I think a lot less people will use the exclusion of artifacts, and will be more inclined to use the exclusion of artifacts towards how it's actually designed. So that would be nice.
Oh yeah, did we add the exclude artifact set filter?
No, we haven't yet. That was my whole spiel for the past 10 minutes. I want to design it to be as unmisleading as possible, which is why
Oh,
it's taking so bloody long.
oh,
Like
yes.
we could do it in the system, but I want to be able to design the UI so it's as minimally misleading as possible.
So your rand encompass the entire thing. I see.
Yeah, so yeah. Currently the four set selector is definitely not something I'm very happy about. But I'll and it's definitely not as flexible as it could be. I understand that, but I think I need more time in thinking up a solution for this kind of a big feature. And it's kind of a core feature as well. It's a core memory.
Just yeah, you do you like the entire system underneath is like so flexible. Like you can do all sorts of crazy combinations, like 2 CPU, 2NO, or 4 shim, or excluding 4 shim, or like all sorts of weird combinations. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, let your imagination run as well. I'm not the one designing the UI.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I think it comes down to, like you said earlier, empowering the user and giving the user choice, because yes, the core function of the optimizer is to find the optimal build for that character, but with the addition of the theory crafting graph, where you can actually see how the build changes depending on certain conditionals and different choices, if you want to compare what two-piece forced this versus two-piece forced that may look like on a theory crafting graph, then you need to be able to force those certain stats.
Yeah, it makes sense. So this is why my intention of removing two sets might not be as easily transferable as the final solution, and this is why this is kind of the design considerations I have to consider.
To be honest, the PC graph is kind of like misleading because anything beyond like the orange line is unstable. Like it could have a very different set depending on how like the randomization of the build generation activates this kind of like weird tuning and stuff. So like, yeah, and anything aside from the orange line is very not trustable in a sense.
Yeah, and this is why we kind of hidden it behind the theory crafting mode. Yeah, this kind of you kind of need a fundamental understanding of what a graph is doing and what all these numbers do before you try to use the number as any sort of actionable. This build is good, this build is bad, or like what the accurate data are, and that's kind of.
Yeah. No, like I'm saying that if you export the database and import it again, the generated graph might not look the same. Like as I said, the only thing that is guaranteed to be stable is the orange line. Everything else is just not even then it's not the entirety of the orange line. It's like if you generate 10 builds, only the top 10 points on the orange line will be preserved. Like everything else is not guaranteed, which is like
all those extra lines, extra dots are effectively contributors to the line themselves. So we'll have to think about what to do there as well. Yeah, and of course that TC graph feature definitely needs an upgrade. There's plenty of features on there that I want to add that never got to it, or a higher priority feature got in the way. So. Unfortunately, I can't say that I can place it very high in terms of priority. That's kind of what happens. There's a lot of talk about people who are using the builder as a way to compare different builds, and they're kind of testing out what will happen if a specific artifact specific set is placed on a character. I don't really think it's a good idea to use a builder for this, but I understand why people do it because there is no other easier mechanism to provide some sort of comparison on just a per artifact or per weapon basis.
Imagine adding a preset before Genshin Impact, the game itself.
Well, I mean, okay, presets are another kind of bag of worm that I kind of don't want to open right now. I understand a lot of people want presets, but currently in our current database structure is non-trivial to implement, and let's just leave it at that. We'll need to basically prepare a lot of other features and database migration stuff in place
Yeah, and that's
before
to
we
put
can.
it very mildly.
Yeah, this it's a very long-term feature. Any feature that requires changing the user's database or the database format is very difficult to do because you have to consider what happens with your old database. How would the data even be conceivably represented, and how would they conflict with previous databases and stuff? So it's definitely not trivial. But back to my previous point, I think a lot of people are using the optimizer as basically saying, hey, I have artifact A, I have artifact B, which one is better on my character in isolation. And if you have to go to the builder to make that determination, then you're really just using a truck to like nail in a nail, right? So, to hammer in a nail, right? So like I want to design some sort of UI feature where it's easy for you to swap, search up and swap weapons and artifacts on the character, and during the process of swapping, you could say, what my number look at if I just swap in this artifact, and you'll make that comparison compared to your currently equipped artifact.
And another thing when you are swapping the artifact, you are not adding a crit damage simply. Like you also remove whatever previous stat on the previous artifact had as well. So it's not a simple kind of like, is it going up, is it going down, but it's more like, is this artifact fit more in the combination of the entire of your build? Because like it's like Tetris. Sometimes the L shape is good, but it's like not what you always want. Something like that. Sometimes you want some other shape as well, and it just fits better overall so that you get the best solution.
For sure. I see a CV value meter was added. Oh no, Mimi, you've already tainted the pot. Look at what you've done. No, CV will never be CV will never be added by me directly, but people can mod it in if they want to. I mean, I ultimately don't control what people can do with the optimizer at the end user base.
Imagine having a mod community on your
optimizer. I mean, it pretty much is, but the entire community currently is just Mimi doing his things.
Yes.
But I at least for me, I would never consider adding in crit value. I can understand why some people see the appeal of it, but as long as I'm the lead dev of the optimizer, this is kind of where I draw the line. Decoupled teams, right? Decoupled teams is another issue, and it's a very, very big issue with presets and other sort of representation in terms of the optimizer, and that's kind of a headache to think about as well. I understand currently you can only put a single character on one team, so if you wanna have benefits on multiple teams, you're gonna have to like click around and swap them around to optimize. But that's just kind of how the data flows. And if we're to disrupt that, well, I think there will be a lot more bugs first of all, but also I think if we don't design this feature properly, there could be very well be a lot of instability in this website. So you're saying Van or Ventura can add it? Yeah, they can add it, but like I'm gonna reject their PR.
Yeah, nobody touched the release, the master branch. Nobody. Yeah. You know, back onto the topic of the CV a little bit, like I first thought like you would embrace it, and I was just like, yeah, that's a pretty stupid idea, but turns out you're also against the idea, which is nice.
Oh yeah, it's an incredibly superficial metric. If you have a system that gives you the optimal result, why would you use a simplified metric as a way to measure your build? You know, it's like, why would you compare a Lamborghini against a bicycle?
The funny thing though is that incidentally, the raw value is CV. I checked the ratio. Yeah.
Raw value is technically CV, but don't tell anyone that.
They don't know. They
don't
would never
no,
know.
No one knows. It's not like we're speaking publicly on live stream with
Yes.
5 viewers. Oh no, 5 people now knows.
Yes. And the funny part is like RV was created for entirely different purposes of like so that you can check your artifacts, see your RV and say like, okay, if this number is closing to the maximum, then like this artifact is probably full, almost full. So like you probably don't need to farm for a better artifact, or like you might want to farm for other shape of the artifact, like have different combination of the roles, but like not this one in particular. And people never used it as such, so it was like, yeah, just leave them be. I wanted to remove them so many times.
Yeah, makes sense. They're staying. It sounds like they're. I have the stream turned off, so I don't know what the sound balance is, but apparently the Genshin sound is a bit overwhelming.
Oh, okay.
So next time you die inevitable and death, just I don't know, lower that shit. Or I don't know how it works on your end. Because it will be because you're unless you have different audio stream for both Discord and Genshin.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've got Discord and Genshin together.
Well, then you're gonna have to use the Windows sound mixer and. Or actually no, you could just lower Genshin sounds in game, can't you?
Pretty sure you
Well,
can.
let's try that. I've increased Discord and lowered the overall Genshin, I think.
Oh no, Windows sound mixer is disgusting. I hate that thing. Your trumpet for the win. Oh well, so yeah, if any part of the stream that sounds the most comfortable for you, do speak up. I think we're kind of somewhat oblivious because well, I think everyone in stream has pretty much the stream muted, which means that we won't know whether the stream has bad audio quality until the stream is over, which is usually bad latency.
Classic setup. The streamer doesn't listen to their own stream. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, no, I had this issue when I stream as well. It's no one know, like I wouldn't know until someone tell me, unless I actually test my setup, which yeah, just YOLO stream it.
He has permission to push to master. Oh, you don't want to do that.
He does have permission to push to master. That's another thing. So GitHub doesn't have like a fine-grained permission system.
Yeah.
Well, like once you ask someone as a contributor, they have access to the whole show. You can't just protect the branches. I think that's a pro feature. How optimized is a duplicate finder? Oh yeah, Lanchura, can you answer that? Sorry to interrupt your current thought.
What was the question again?
The question is, how optimized is a duplicate finder? I guess
it's very primitive. is actually very primitive because like all we did is just like check for, okay, does it have the same set, same names, and all that, and like at least the same level or more, or like, and every every stat is in the same. But everything is just like we just brute force, just compare every pair of artifacts. So essentially a quadratic algorithm. So it's not that fast, but we do it only once per what? Once per database loading. So it's not
Once
that
per
bad when you
database
have.
loading and once per and then it's a linear when you scanning artifact to detect duplicates.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
And
thing about
no,
algorithm.
not necessarily. I mean, I think our duplicate and upgrade detection algorithm is sophisticated enough that you could just maintain your current database.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not to dox it that it is simplistic or anything. It is rather complicated, and perhaps necessarily so due to like how the Genshin, how the game itself handling the upgrades. But I'm trying to say that it is not meant to be. It is not need to be fast
Yep.
because we do it so very infrequently, and that's the thing. Like you don't need to optimize everything to the T. You just say
Yeah.
that yeah, this is good enough, and you just spend your actual time on something else, like the actual optimization.
Yeah. Sometimes when you write very optimized code, they're very hard to maintain, which ends up hurting you in the long run because you come back to it, you're like, who wrote this? Who designed this? Why is it written this way? And it's just because it's hyper optimized code that's not very easy to understand.
Yeah, sometimes you can add one line and change the entire algorithm on its head, and it's
Mhm.
like, what the hell did I write?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in theory, you shouldn't need to clear out your artifact when you re-import. Maybe if your database is really, really, really old. Um, I understand that some of the database import UI isn't updated well enough, and it doesn't give you enough information. And there, we are trying to address that. But you
Yeah,
have to understand, merging two very big databases with slight differences in variance is very difficult to give, at least give user enough information to make them let them make the determination to what they want in terms of merging and stuff. So a lot of
yeah,
stuff are happening in the background as well that we don't end up telling the user, which it might be more empowering that we do. So
yeah. I
so
mean, imagine a toggle where you have 300 artifacts. Some of them may duplicate one another or may upgrade one another, and you gotta choose. How is that gonna help?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a gone show. I think most people who see that UI are gonna be like, I'm just gonna delete my old database and re-import. So we just wasted time designing that complicated UI for nothing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I think the database import UI does need some upgrade at least in
To be
terms of
honest, well, after I update the underlying database migration into places, I'm pretty sure like you can have a final grain merging process. It's like, okay, we have this database, we only need to update the artifact, only need to update the character, and all those kind of things,
yeah. Well,
which
they
might be what people want to some
Yeah, well,
degree.
yeah. So we definitely have made I guess engine changes that makes the system smarter. The issue is that we haven't designed the UI to reflect the smartness. So right now it's basically right now it doesn't convey all the information that it should. Like for example, I think there is a feature where if you have an artifact that's locked, and then you import a new database that doesn't include that artifact because it's locked, that artifact is going to get carried over when you merge the two database, but it doesn't tell you that it's getting retained. At least not
Actually,
very well.
I think that might be a bug that I fixed some time ago, and
Oh,
it's actually not the lock thing that causes it. It's actually like when I merged it, I forgot to remove the artifact of the same ID. So it's
wait a
like, okay,
minute.
yeah. So like
Have I been thinking a bug as a feature all this time?
I mean, I can add it as a feature if you would like,
No, no,
but
no, no,
but we
no.
never have the
I thought that was
we
like a
never
super niche feature.
like what kind of thing would you need? What kind of scenario would you want to retain the lock artifact when the scanner should already have the same locked artifact? What do you think about?
Yeah, but I think we should have additive database imports where it just doesn't delete from the old database. It only merge the duplicates or upgrades and add stuff in additively. I think a lot of people are doing like partial scans of their inventory, which means that using the database as a de facto replacement for the database would delete a majority of their artifacts or something like that.
The problem is that the entire migration, like the entire merging is is just a heuristic. Like it's not 100%. It's definitely not 100 good enough to. I don't think at least it's not good enough to like to have this final plan. Like okay, just add a new one. Like do you even know correctly which one is new or which one is like the same?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. So yeah, no, I understand that, but I think
mean,
in
if
terms of
you want me to do it,
flexibility.
yeah.
No, I think a lot of our heuristic is predicated on the fact that once you import the database, you're saying that database contains the entirety of your artifact. So maybe this feature might not ultimately hold water, but it's just interesting to think about if we're going to eventually rework some of the UI around here. Maybe we allow the user to import. If it doesn't make sense in terms of implementation side, we'll figure it out.
Well, we can have a lot of fun playing around with it. Not to mention the fact that all the documentation is in a single README file, which I never mentioned.
Yeah, I think I've accidentally stumbled upon that sometimes.
Yeah, it's like yeah, this is the entire process of our migration. I never talk about it. I never say it anywhere else. It's just in that single file. And like, if you need to update the migration, you need to adhere to this strict rule. Otherwise, everything will break and burn to pieces.
Yep,
So yeah.
that's the best that's the best kind of code when you instill the fear of change so much that everyone just maintains it instead of making it better. Um, create a program that does that separately? Probably not. I think we mentioned I've mentioned this before, maybe like 20 minutes ago. That I don't I see it as like developer bloat to maintain a separate entity of the optimizer, either as an app or as like a desktop app or something like that. If we're gonna do something in terms of optimizer, we'll probably only do it in the context of the website. In terms of adding an updated library. Yeah, I think the way to go forward with that is that since majority of our code is on the website itself, there's no reason to have a separate entity even for data for library updates. We'll just have to make the UI more intuitive.
Well, if that feature request thread got merged in, we're gonna have a Fortran compiler in there or Fortran interpreter in there as well.
Oh, you mean like Toothless Wolf?
Yes.
Yeah, for his stuff, I'm thinking that we don't. I'm not sure, but if it changes our architecture so drastically, we might just make it so that it's hosted on his side.
No, it's actually the thing is like his stuff is not changing ours at all. It's just like attached onto it because like the thing like the wave rider, he just attached the automatic differential on top of it, and then the calculation is just like just like our roll probability thing. Like it's just like a small piece that is attached near
Well, yeah,
on the outer core.
I haven't kept up close enough. I haven't been apprised of recent developments in that feature. I'll have to look at it more closely before we make a decision on what to do forward.
To be honest, I haven't verified the math, but if the Monte Carlo is close enough to the yellow line that he did, I think that might be good enough.
Wait, I thought he's doing some sort of Fourier approximation.
He
With,
did. He does, and like and has some. He has a fast approximation and a slow computation, which I'm
I
not sure
see.
why we have the latter. But he said that the slow that we don't have a bound on the difference between the fast approximation and the slow computation. So like I just say, yeah, let's keep both for now. Because
Yeah,
that's a thing.
that's
If we don't
double
have
the
the
work.
bound on it, it's just like then we're not saying much, are we?
No, we're not. If it's a bounded approximation, you're really not telling much.
Yeah.
Because then you don't know how approximate is your approximate. And what's the point?
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll figure that out. That feature is, I mean,
Yeah.
I doubt we see it until like the end of this year, honestly, considering how much work like even if he does finish the feature, we verify the math and everything checks out architecturally, implementation, and everything else. We still have to design the UI around that, and then we have to design the UI to explain to the end user what all these fancy bar graphs are, and then we have to design the UI to be responsive. And I'm not sure we might have to like offload cache calculations, like, all these crazy stuff. Was a it's a massive bag of worms, shall I say?
Yeah. And on the topic of like the build potential, quote unquote, is it's the same thing that yeah, the people keep saying it all the time, and people keep like coming up with a new heuristic like, yeah, why don't we start with like a pretty good build, like keep swapping a single artifact until we hit the local minima, and like
That's a
yeah, this
really
can be
algorithm.
yeah, it's like okay, it sounds good. It probably give you a relatively good build, but it's like it's not bounded by like is it gonna be always be within 10% of the best build or something? Or it's just gonna be a pretty good then at that point it's not really what Go is about, which is like always gonna give you just a simple calculator. It's not gonna give you anything more than that. Right? Like if you say okay I'm gonna want the best attack damage when this talent is turned on, that talent is turned off, then you should get that. Not some
Mhm.
weird stuff.
Yeah, the damage potential has always been a big discussion point. Every few weeks, it seems to surface. People seem to think that it can either be done in a way that's not misleading, or somehow find new ways around it, or say, someone else has implemented it. But
Yeah.
in terms of actually implementing it in the optimizer, I don't. How about that? Let's say that neither me or Lantro are smart enough to implement it.
Yeah, yeah. Like to be fair, like those heuristic, like those idea that people came up with, like if they want to try to implement it, go for it. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. It just like it's not part of Go. Like you can spin up your own website or your own toolshed, which is totally fine, and I have nothing against that. Like,
Yeah,
but it's like it's
we
not
we
what
do
we
have
want.
some sort of mathematics integrity that we're trying to hold ourselves to, and
Yeah,
really like whole premise of Go not telling you how to play your game, or try to be as unopinionated as possible. It's incredibly difficult to maintain, and it is a very massive limitation in terms of how we design the website for sure. But uh, it's I think the only way we see forward with this website. If we can't abide by that, then I don't think either one of us will be maintaining this website.
yeah. At that point, it's not a very interesting project no more, to be honest.
Yep. Yeah. Completely useless unless proven. Good luck proving these crazy heuristics against the uneven terrain of Genshin math.
Oh yeah. A 10-dimensional function. Yeah. With a very weird shape.
Is my Discord dead?
Edge?
Hmm,
I don't think so.
I'm still hearing you.
Yeah, I can hear me, but I'm trying to send messages, but it's graying out, which implies it's not being sent.
Right.
Okay, well now it's being sent out of order.
Someone cannot build a project. What happened?
Because Mr. Dimbreath, our data archon, who is pretty much the provider of all data mine for most Genshin project, has suddenly decided to change his keys around in the repo.
Yes.
And
GitHub has a protected branch. Huh.
I think
I
protected
thought only
branches is a premium feature only.
see.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll look into it if it's a feature that we could access, so we don't have accidental pushes to master. So Stay, how is the suffering? I've seen that you've restarted this chamber a few times.
Yes, I have. It wouldn't be this suffering without this sum. The pyro
We'll
lectors that are
see.
giving me trouble at the moment.
Yeah, seems like it. I think
don't
we
have
had this
enough.
problem last time as well.
Yeah, I just don't have enough Hydra application, and I keep getting hit by shit.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing my account lacks. Good hydro dudes. You're basically having to resort to put Xingqiu in one team or the other.
And it doesn't help when Xingqiu doesn't proc sack sword multiple times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to have a perfect run of these pyro lectors, otherwise I just don't have time on the Hydra guys.
Yeah, really is just like a RNG until you get it perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah. And the funny part is like I don't play Genshin anymore. And I was like, well, isn't that awkward? Yeah.
I think about 60% of the Genshin Optimizer dev team doesn't actually play Genshin. That's probably the greatest irony. But also probably one of our great success, if nothing else. We've designed a system that's so incredibly flexible. It doesn't. We could probably optimize like some other game as well. We could probably optimize Honkai if the implementer has, I guess, a good enough understanding of how their system works.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, whatever it is, probably one of my better achievements that's seen the light of day.
Oh yeah, it's definitely something that's over-engineered for its own good, but I almost feel bad that we're using it to calculate a gacha game instead of using it to do, I don't know, solve real-world problems.
I mean, just one more step, and we probably get a TensorFlow for JavaScript or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I think this is pretty much an implementation of TensorFlow for JavaScript at this point.
Yeah. Which, to be honest, I get a lot of inspiration, even to the level of like some APIs from that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I realized. I mean, this was influenced by TensorFlow from the beginning, anyways.
Yeah.
We could definitely, I mean, we could definitely do a lot of things with it. I think it's good that we've, how do we say it? Through some, I wouldn't say years, but through like the whole year development, we've refined our calculation process to the point where we could design our own engine, catered specifically for our needs.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, mind you. It probably will never be perfect, but it's so good that it's unbelievably. It's unbelievable that we had the time and effort to over-engineer something just for a gacha game.
Okay. Oh yes, pat me more.
Oh wow.
Uh,
I mean, Is this feeding into your ego?
Yes, I feel empowered. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. This is what you get out of this whole thing.
Yes.
Internet cloud. Well, I mean, okay, but like once we have like more documentation and we like write down like how the engine works and like actually write like academic papers to showcase it, I think we could maybe allow other people to have a wider application of it or something like that, or even like get help other people implement their own optimizers for their own game using this engine.
Hmm.
The potential for this is endless. We just haven't tapped into this.
Yes. The documentation. Yes, I've gotta write it at some point.
Yeah, documentation is a pretty big problem.
Yeah. The annoying part is that I know nobody else is gonna write it aside from me. And I was just like, yeah.
Well,
Ah well.
yeah, you become de facto engine guy.
Yeah. Which is not bad. It just means that my code is as I left it. So like when I need to do any change, I know literally. I know quite like where I need to write the line. Like the bug fix these days is just like a single line added, a single line removed it, or something like that.
I think it's. I mean, yeah, that's good. That your code it stays consistent to your interpretation of it. But I don't think it's
Yeah.
a. I think eventually we're gonna have to take a more like. We're gonna have to look at your code because we can't just let.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
We can't
It's
just let
just
you go
like
crazy.
yeah.
Self nepotism and all.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, like I always want to say like how to talk about how cool this piece and that piece is to everyone. And I was like, yeah, it's probably only cool to me.
I'm sure it's cool to a lot of people. The issue is like it's not something you could describe in a casual conversation. It's more like you can only describe it once they read the 12-page documentation how this thing works.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there's quite a lot of intricate systems within the optimizer that we should like write down like what they do. A lot of the substat prediction system we're trying to do a reverse lookup from a rounded total to predict how many rolls a specific substat is. I mean, it's incredibly complicated.
Yeah, like yeah. No, I'm just agree with like you would not believe how the lengths that we go to accurately predict a substat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like looking at the cake and trying to guess what the filling is, but you only see like the frosting.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of other systems like our pruning system that goes before our builder. So how we can eliminate a pretty big chunk of undesirable artifacts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have like 2 or 3 different pruning systems in there, and they don't really interact with each other. But at some point they do, but they're actually done or something like that, and it's weird.
Yeah, well, we should definitely document like at least let people kind of have a glimpse of what goes under the. This will help out with a lot of people who wants to understand the optimizer more, but we kind of just say, oh, it's kind of complicated. You have 2 hours to discuss this with us.
Yeah, that's what I've said before, but that is like I kind of want to document like that because sometimes people ask about the thing and it's just like, yeah, if we have a document point to chapter 4, section 3, subsection 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we don't have any of those, so
We'll have to write our own Bible. And then you could start knocking down doors, say, "Hello, would you like to have a discussion about our Lord and Savior, our Genshin Optimizer?"
yes.
Ganyu from an Ayaka main. Wait, did you put Ganyu in these two teams? I don't think you did. Stay, Mr. Suffering?
Hey, what?
Oh, you're actually using Ganyu.
Yeah, yeah.
And my level 1 Mona makes an appearance in floor 12.
You know the funny part about the Wave Rider, now that we are on the topic, is that I entirely did not think anything about like the team buff or the UI. I mean, like
No, you did not. We literally have to duct tape that stuff together, and then we're like, oh wait, this doesn't work. So we rewrote it like 3 or 4 times in a big rewrote that is Wave Rider.
yeah, and in the end, the team buff is still like feels a little slapdash onto it somehow.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely just a residual tumor to a great system.
I give
Indeed.
up. Changing
What was
teams.
that?
I give up. I'm changing teams. Can't
Oh
keep
yeah,
pushing
I don't
through on
think
this.
yeah, I don't think it could make this work. Sad. You wanna look at what we did before? I mean, Abyss hasn't changed, right?
No, it hasn't changed. I just need another Hydro applicator on that first team, and then
Yeah.
just push through.
I think every time we look at like our previous record on what we did, we always look like, how the hell did we get such a scuffed team through floor 12?
Execution.
You must be just keep whacking your head against that brick wall until either something breaks.
Oh, have you ever heard of Elden Ring?
Oh lordy, don't get him started. This is a Genshin live stream.
Hew.
I mean, yes, it fits very well with our theme of suffering, but I think Stain can only take one form of suffering at once. Oh, actually, you did use the for the last floor. You went back to the safety of Gutao.
I did.
Yeah, for Chambers 3-1, you did Gutao, Xingqiu, Ayato, Zhongli. For number 2, you went Ganyu, Rosaria, Venti, and Fiona. Well, if you're truly a Ayaka main, then I'm very it's very unfortunate that I have to inform you that my Ayaka is level 1.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you just built Ayaka, you would win.
I know, but like I can't stand Ayaka. It just I hate her hair and the implication of her like her massive forehead is ridiculous. And yes, that's my metric for determining whether if I want to simp a character or not. It's whether I like their hair or not. Based wet socks. Ugh.
Ah, yes.
I think Ayato's like clothing design is very nice. The whole like samurai motif. Sprint turning radius of a damn 18-wheeler. True. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten used to that sprint. Which makes sense because my Mona's level 1 as well, so really there's no character to project that muscle memory onto. So what games have you been playing, Ventura, other than Elden Ring?
To be honest, I went back and played Celeste again.
Oh, again? Wow. Comfort zone much.
I really love the movement. It feels really good, and I was like, it edges like a fine wine. Like every time I went back, I feel like I grasp more and more of the moveset that they have.
Yeah, no, Celeste's movement set is really nice. I think they do quite a lot of like they give a ton of tolerances to your movement. Like you could jump off a platform when you're like hovering only 1 pixel on it or something, and then
Yeah.
there's quite a lot of tolerances to your double jump as well. It just makes the system feel incredibly fluid.
Yeah, it's like it's not punishing you by having an awkward movement, but it's like it has a really great movement, but then make it even harder platforming on top of that. It feels good. It feels good.
What about you, Vaughn? You cheating on Genshin with anything?
But I like Genshin. But yeah, I also actually went back to Celeste very recently.
Wow, Van the robot.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a very dark
Well,
punk.
Sorry, Van, your audio is very robotic.
Yeah, you're becoming Daft Punk.
Yeah, you must be showing your true nature.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi.
I think my RTX voice is like broken. It always does this now for some reason.
Oh lordy,
It's unfortunate.
why can't things just work?
Exactly. But yeah, I'm playing Celeste too actually. And
Oh
I'm
my.
stuck on Farewell.
Farewell took forever. I remember like my first game, my first arrest round is like it took me 12k death in the end.
12,000 deaths?
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm not, yeah. But then when I run back, I think I now at farewell at 2k left, only at 2k. So I think yeah, it feels like you really grasp more and more, even like after you haven't played it in a while. Which is a weird feeling. Like I don't feel this in any other kind of game. Like if I go back and play Hollow Knight, I wouldn't even be the first boss.
The muscle memory would just have been erased from your fingers. You will have to retrain those thumbs again.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you usually when you haven't played a game in a while, like you get sluggish on that. But for this kind of game, it is weird. But for this particular game, it is like, you know, I come back, I stumble a little bit, and then it just click back together again very quickly. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I made a terrible mistake with Hollow Knight. I initially played it with a controller because that's apparently some very opinionated friends said that's the only way to play. And then halfway through, I couldn't handle the controller anymore because my thumbs have not been developed well enough. So I went back to a keyboard. I could just never play the game again. So I've somehow ruined Hollow Knight for me.
The controller isn't bad, but it's like it is a very quick. It requires very quick reaction time. So like the controller delay really does a lot of harm to you. That I need to like plug the wire in. Unfortunately.
Oh, I see. So you can't play wireless.
Yeah, especially the Hollow Knight in particular. Like, yeah.
It's gotten to the point where I think I've only like played like 1 or 2 games a year.
I mean, to be honest, I could play Elden Ring for a few more 100 hours. So I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like instead of choosing like engaging games, we're choosing like the copium games to play. Like Genshin really isn't much of a game. I'll have to say the action combat is nice, but after that, it really is just a holding pattern.
Yeah. It doesn't feel with. I don't feel the oomph, which is why I left.
Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, I failed to maintain a decent level of dopamine.
Yeah. How's the Lost Ark?
Oh, Lost Ark is maintaining a decent level of dopamine, but it's so low that it's barely above a livable post. You know, that's just MMOs for you.
CC.
Mm-hmm. But you know, I think it's getting to the point where, you know, I have like thousands of games on Steam. By thousands, I mean like 1,200 or something, and I should really at least visit one or two of them a year. At least, you know, this never-ending backlog of video games to play.
Oh, I feel ya. I feel ya. Which is, I guess, it's also why nowadays I just like I don't buy too many games. It's just like, do I really need this, or I can just go back to my old library and figure out something to play.
Yeah, well, the issue is like if you stop playing these new games, you stop understanding what makes games good, and then you're thinking that games like, you know, coding pattern games like Genshin or Lost Ark is good enough, and you fail to compare an actual good gaming experience with a grinding experience, and I kind of don't want that. And at least for like the last almost 2 years, that's kind of been my experience with gaming.
That is fair, I guess.
Fair and kind of depressing, honestly.
Oh well.
I mean,
It
I
is
just
what
play
it-
it with that expectation in mind that I know it's a grinding game, and I'm just waiting for like a, you know, Breath of the Wild 2 or something to come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would want to say same, but you know, I don't think I have time for other games.
That's why I like Genshin 2, is like I can just put 20 minutes into it a day and feel like fulfilled, because it's just brain empty, pretty easy game to play. I used to play
Yeah.
Celeste after work, and then it's like I got to a hard level, and now it's like anti-dopamine because I'm stuck on it for 20 minutes or like a limited amount of time I can play, and then I don't get any progress done, and then I
Yeah.
close it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an issue. After a hard day, you just want to chill.
Mm.
I'm sure there are plenty of games that are just more chill. Honestly haven't explored like more than like 17% of my Steam library. I'm sure there's some nice gems in here.
Yeah, and there are these games that you are supposed to play with your friends, like Monster Hunter or something. Where it's like, yeah, you can
Oh.
co-op up to 4 player or something, but then your friend just drop off, or like he quote unquote solved the game, so he doesn't know what to play anymore. Kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah. Well, that's the issue with these kind of games. Monster Hunter, there's always gonna be a friend who progresses more than you just because they play 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Or like, but like I don't know, I really like games like Stardew Valley or like Terraria. You know, where there's like if you progress ahead and you're waiting for people to catch up, there's enough horizontal content that you could just kind of, you know, be in a holding pattern and you can work on some other things.
Yeah. And the problem with that kind of design is like, if you're not careful, you can end up rubber banding players, which is not fun at all.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I mean, now that I've decided to become a streamer, maybe I should actually, you know, get a crack at some of these Steam games, so I don't become another Lost Ark Genshin streamer.
Mm.
Sure, that's already a incredibly saturated field.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like getting over it.
Oh wow, I am not getting over that. Actually, I don't even think I have the game. No, I don't.
Getting over it?
It's that frustrating game where you're a man in a cauldron, you move around by the means of a hammer.
Yes, I remember playing that with a few of my friends because like we bought it as a meme.
Oh
And
no,
oh god, the video does not do it justice.
horrifying.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you just paid money for suffering, that's what you did.
Oh yeah. Celeste. Farewell. Oh, you didn't play the sightsee fan? Yeah.
I honestly don't even know how to get this side C. I thought you would get it after Farewell. I didn't look at any spoilers though, so don't spoil it.
Oh, actually, like, Farewell is just a DLC. Think of it as like you're supposed to finish sightsee first in some sense, So yeah. It's totally fine because like everything after side A is non-canon, so you don't really miss out on anything. But it's just like the difficulty is like that. The Pharaoh is harder than side C.
Well, that explains why I'm stuck. We've been stuck on this one screen for like months.
Maybe also because like there's one move step that you are also required to know on site that might be taught on site C. I can't remember. There's one on site B for sure. So yeah, there might be that. Oh well. Yeah, without spoiler too much, try to get side B, all of the side B first. I would recommend doing that, and you'll see yeah.
Thousands of hours across different roguelikes. Oh my god, roguelikes are disgustingly addictive. It's just the RNG. You play the same game over and over again, but oh my god, Binding of Isaac, I've played hundreds of hours. Risk of Rain 2, disgusting amount of hours.
You know, to be honest, I don't quite get roguelike. I might get flamed for that, but
No,
it is.
it's, everyone has their taste. We don't kink shame around here. I mean, your opinion is wrong, but we can't prosecute you for it.
Right. I mean, it's not for the lack of trying, right? Hey,
Okay. No, okay. There was a roguelike that you've loved absolutely. Remember Duskers?
Okay.
The typing command line robot control roguelike.
Oh, okay. Fair. That is fair. Okay, that feels better now.
Yeah, so fundamentally you do like roguelike. You just need to find the flavor that you like.
Ah, I see.
Oh yeah, Hades was such a good time.
Yep. It sort of was okay. The only downside is that it wrecks my hand that I need to stop playing it.
Oh yeah. I think Rogue Legacy 2 is in like open beta or something. I'm kind of excited for that.
Let's see.
Did you say Peg? Oh, Pegling. I was like, Pego, a roguelike? Is this some sort of advanced joke I don't understand?
This is cute.
Yeah. No, I saw Rogue Legacy 2, and I wasn't fully sold on it, so I went back to playing Rogue Legacy. Oh, it's such a good game. It's like I felt like the only issue I had with it was that it lacked a lot of depth I would want from a lot of roguelite progressions. Crypt of the Necromancer, Cadence of Hyrule.
Oh yeah, Criminal Necromancer. I need to get back to that game.
Oh yeah, did you ever finish David Cage's wait, is it David Cage, The Witness?
I did not. Like, I don't own the game. You own it, and it's like.
Right, I remember like you visited me once and you like spent like 8 hours a day playing it or something ridiculous.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I don't buy too many games. I know I'm gonna get addicted to it. It's like the same thing with Monster Hunter. Like even after my friend just like solved the game, I still play for another 300 hours, and it was like.
Yep. No,
It
Monster
was a
Hunter
good.
was great.
Yeah. And the same goes like with pretty much any game. I just play it until I see all the achievement or something, which is not totally unnecessary. But I guess it's like my monkey brain in there somewhere is something of a stupid perfectionist or completionist.
Yeah,
Oh.
completionists shouldn't play video games. He just dedicated suffering.
It is. Yeah, The Witness was such a good game. Oh yeah. Anti-Chamber too. I remember playing it with you.
No? Oh, there's a second anti-chamber?
No, the first one.
Oh. I was like, I will be I will if there was a second anti-chamber, well goodbye the weekend.
Oh, I will be stoked. Yes.
Oh man, recently I made the mistake of purchasing Vampire Survivors. And oh my god, it is literally crack cocaine.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, this is such a small game. Well, that's in beta. There's no way there's any depth in it, and I think I've sit down and played like 4 hours of it.
Yeah, the Crypt of the Necromancer. Yeah, if you focus on the rhythm, you can hardly focus on the direction you're going, which is kind of hard to do.
Is that the whole point of the game?
Yeah, it's about the balance. You should do both actually, to some extent. Like sometimes it might be better to like think some more, but lose on the rhythm. But I will. Anti-Chamber too. Well, it is a good game too.
It too is a good game.
Yes. I wonder if people actually use that roll probability feature in the Genshin Optimizer. We kind of just like
We implemented and we found it to be incredibly cope, so we never went back to it.
yeah, it's like the number is accurate, but it's like 0.009%. Would you want to know?
It's literally a copium calculator. I'll be completely honest with you. I have not checked whether it was still functional. And if it happens that we somehow broke it and it's no longer functional, I think that's a happy mistake.
Ah well. Because I remember.
Some math just don't deserve to be done.
Oh well.
Wasn't that a feature that someone else did the math for, and you just implemented it because you had the math ready to go?
Okay, I'm gonna be super honest here that I read a Toothless Wolf math, and I got so angry that I implemented by myself.
Like how dare you speak the language of math in your tone of voice? Here, my voice is just.
It was like, why are we doing it like this? Why don't you do it this way? Like this entire thing is memorizable. Like, God, come on, let me show you. Those kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's just like angry implementation.
It's a feature that's designed based on pettiness.
Yeah. And I remember like I just sit down around like one afternoon, and it's like, and then when I finish it, just pester him to add a UI for it, and he's just like, fine, I'm gonna add it.
Oh, I didn't even add a good UI for it. I literally just piggybacked on our existing UI. It was so scuffed.
Yeah, it is. It very much is.
But I doubt we're gonna put too much more development time in it unless we could piggyback the map onto something else. We might ultimately do that for something else.
Yeah.
Right now we have a lot of the pieces, but I don't think we have the whole picture yet.
Yeah.
Wait, I have Hello Neighbor? What happened to that game?
The alpha was better. That's the consensus.
I think they released such like a crazy mess that like everyone went back to the alpha or something. It's kind of like what happened with Cube World.
It's unfortunate.
I remember playing like the Cube World alpha and it was like so good. And then when I saw the full release, I think me along with all the rest of the community was so disappointed that like we just let it die into obscurity. Which is too bad. I think the game itself has a lot of promise.
Oh well. It's the same as world building. The idea is an idea. It needs an execution too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, angry implementation.
I think quite a lot of our features is based off of angry implementations.
Yeah, so many times that is just like you see people doing something on the internet, and it's like, are you seriously doing it like this? Let me
Well,
show
like
you.
the entire optimizer was based on the premise that I absolutely detest spreadsheets.
Oh, that
Like
too, yeah.
yeah, like the entire premise was basically to be a spreadsheet killer.
And then I joined you because I got angry that your shit is so slow. I was
Hey,
like, dude, what?
dude, that was like revision one of the formula engine. Okay, we were still using anonymous functions, and we were still brute forcing without pruning and without multi-threading.
Yeah, fair is fair, but still, I joined because I got angry. Like, dude, I cannot optimize my Mona like this. Come on, let me.
Oh, that's hilarious. Just
Yeah.
baited you into developing.
Ah well. Ah well.
I think that's what a lot of I mean that's a good thing about like I guess a community project. It's like if you're not happy with something and you want to help, there's always a way that you can help up to a certain
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah.
Like our moderator staying here, you know, doesn't know a lick of programming, but he's written like 80% of our GitHub issues.
Ah yeah. Yeah.
Just fill up that
I mean,
GitHub issue page.
Like I think he's honestly writing them faster than we could resolve them.
mhm. Oh yeah, this is a classic.
All right, the classic. The first thing our new hire did was fix a bug that bugged him forever, and then he he just quit.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought that's what Vaughn would have done. Who knew he actually stuck around? And now he's in it to win it. Originally,
But
I
yeah.
thought originally I thought he would stick with like all the sheets and stuff, but he's actually done quite a lot on the UI front as well.
Mhm. I remember like there are times when I add some visual calculation and I add a UI and it was like it took so much time. I just okay, fine, I will learn React myself and
Yeah,
other things.
you did do that for a while, and then you kind of took a back seat on that.
Yeah, after I just like it just too much of a hassle. Partially because I don't really like how how do you like the code for the UI is so big and it's so spread across so many files, which
Okay,
perhaps
yes,
is
but also
necessary. So,
yes and also no. If you're designing, if you're writing for like the most basic stack, you're gonna have like an HTML file. You're gonna have a JavaScript file, or like embedded into the HTML, which is worse. And then you have a bunch of CSS. The fact that we could put all the relevant stuff into one file, and you only really have to look at that single file to edit anything relevant to a specific UI element, I think is very nice.
yeah, for sure. Be that as it may, it's still too much of too much for my brain to process.
But that's fine. You know, if like I said, I mean, like the Optimizer is a not-for-profit organization, and considering how much money I've put into Genshin, it's not even like a profit organization. So it's getting to the point where like I'm not pressuring you to do anything. Your participation here is entirely self-motivated.
Mm.
So like if you don't want to deal with UI, I'll fill in the gap, and I'm perfectly okay. I wouldn't use the word content. Um, I'm coping enough with UI that it should be fine. And hey, we're I think if our schedule work out, we're gonna upgrade to React 18 this weekend. We're gonna have
Ooh,
all these crazy new features like concurrent rendering and like
ooh.
deferred values and bunch of other stuff. that I haven't really looked into yet.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Since a ton of our rendering is based off of promises, concurrent rendering I think will actually speed up our UI responsiveness a lot. Not to mention like the manually implemented deferred value. So
Oh yeah.
we've made a few design decisions that tries to cater towards some of the sluggishness of the UI. So we could probably remove the training wheels on those. That would be a glorious day.
It would be indeed. Indeed. Soon TM.
Saying, are your fingers tired?
Oh, I'm getting a bit bored. I think I've done my 40 minutes of Genshin today.
You've done more than just 40 minutes. You've been here for almost 2 hours. Now the question is, have you suffered enough?
Oh, it's... See, this is the thing. These new abysses aren't like the old ones where it's not like rage-inducing suffering. It's just, you know, if I had the tiniest bit more damage, or maybe 200 less ping, this wouldn't be so bad.
Well, 200 less ping is something we can't exactly offer to you. But yeah, if you want to do damage, have you heard of this tool called the Genshin Optimizer?
I fancy that. I've already run that through.
It just means that the artifact on my accounts are too cope to be... Well, I mean, my artifact availability should be relatively high. It might just be like distributed over...
Just a skill issue at this point, I think.
It might be a skill issue. Have you checked what the Abyss effect is this weekend?
Nope.
You might work towards your advantage.
Oh, look how close that one was. Well, the
Oh,
problem is
bloody hell.
the Abyss buffs are catered towards new characters, and new characters would require you pulling for them and building them.
I mean, we did build Ayato.
We ran out of Nobushi shit, so he's not built.
Right.
If you just built Ayaka, everything would be fine.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm not building like airplane carrier forehead.
You're not the one building her though, that's Zane's job.
But I don't want to run around and pick up Sakura blooms on someone else's account for fucking 3 days straight.
Oh yeah, that's one thing, huh? If you're streaming on my account, it doesn't show that I'm streaming on Twitch. Maybe it's because maybe it actually has to be routed through your OBS or something.
Yeah, it probably just uses like the same thing it does for game detection to detect OBS's streaming.
Yeah, because it was doing fine when I was streaming from my end.
Oh, I've turned off all the streamer stuff on my Discord, so that's why it doesn't show that I'm streaming.
Yeah. Why not?
Oh, I can
How are you gonna how are you gonna become the how are you gonna become the Destiny 2 streamer that you wanted to be since you were a wee middle-aged person?
No, didn't want to be a streamer at all. It's literally like 5 seconds every single run I've done.
Yeah, I'm looking down the number. What would it take to get you through this? Would leveling my Mona? Nah, don't think so.
No, I don't think
I
Mona's got
think
anything to do
replace
with it.
Mona. I don't think she contributes enough at level 1.
Yeah, I think Mona is kind of cope.
The only part she contributes with at the beginning is keeping them slightly frozen, so I can damage them down faster.
Oh man, this stream thing. Why is the chat like nothing's lined up?
I don't know, what did you do to it?
That's nothing. I reset this somehow. Oh, I guess it's gonna take a few seconds if I change anything. Oh, there we go. Now chat's disappeared because no one's been talking. Now we see more of the screen. I should just make it so the chat doesn't always show messages. Just keep it for like 2 minutes. One day we're gonna actually have people in chat yelling at saying that he's playing the game wrong.
Yep.
And then that will be peak suffering. I don't know if maybe one day we just spin the concept on the head and somehow, you know, just an original thought. Maybe I do my Abyss on my account.
When was the last time you did that?
I don't remember. I don't think, definitely not in 2022. That's for sure. Right. What was the time you took that hiatus to the land of the dreams? I think I did my Abyss then.
Ah, I remember.
Either way, it's very unlikely I've played any level on my Abyss in 2022. Maybe that's how I keep myself so healthy and mentally well. Well, I think you know, I think we've talked about this where you know, I want to do like a Genshin dev version of the KQM roundtable or whatever they call it, because I actually don't know what they're calling it nowadays. So like especially with, you know, current delay in content, TC will be slower, but you know, Genshin developers will have to churn on. And I've talked to a few of the Genshin devs, and they're perfectly okay with speaking in front of people, surprisingly. So, you know, sometimes in the future, I mean, no promises, of course, but we might be able to have a... I'm just saying it might be the perfect time to have a dev-only version of a TC stream.
You get together the devs from all the different projects that are around the community.
Yeah, I've been collecting them like Pokemon in the Genshin Dev Discord. Every time I see an interesting website, try to find if the owner has inadvertently put their Discord ID on their website. Just poaching them. And ultimately, if you can't get this to work, well, it's fine. The Abyss will come again. Cycle life and death continue.
I think we have actually had a pretty bad run of cards this time. I don't think there was any
Yeah.
crit rate ones or anything like that.
I think to compensate for that last time, you used the Rosaria on like the second half with Ganyu. Just for that little extra bit of crit rate.
Yeah. This isn't going very well at all. Every team so far has been off by 5 seconds. Which seems to be a common theme with your account. It's like Abyss has been designed to be just enough time for a medium invested account to do that.
Ah. Yeah, I don't understand why. Do you want to use the team you used last time?
What was it last time?
You went Hu Tao, Xinqiu, Ayato, Zhongli on first half. And then Ganyu, Rosaria, Venti, Diona on the second one.
No Hydro on the second one, hey?
Yeah, you had some rationale, but I can't remember something about they provide enough hydro that you could just keep them frozen. I mean, we're only really catering towards the Chamber 3 at this point, anyways, right? So
yeah.
And unfortunately, no Mona.
Yep, poor Mona is gone.
Oh, I could start a gold type followers based on channel of your size who recommended goal 20 followers. Huh. Seems like pandering. Now, what I really want is like channel points.
For what?
The more someone interacts and watch your stream, the more points you have, and then they could redeem the points for some thing. I don't know. I kind
Would
of
you have adding crit value to go as like an unobtainable amount of channel points?
Yeah, probably be like the maximum value of a 64-bit character. Which is like what's the maximum value for 60? Would it like overflow? Let's see, in 64. Oh wait, I should use U in 64. So it's a number is 18 to the power of. Oh, these are a lot of characters under here. 18 to the power of 18. I don't know, we could call it optimizer points or something. Roll value. Call it roll value, that'd be funny. I guess for you, you're liking the how our buttons are much more consistent now, eh?
Well, we're getting there. We're almost consistent.
Other than the few instances which you're mentioning in the issues.
But no, it is improving significantly now. Like the whole feel, visual feel of the site is much nicer. I wasn't too sure on the cyan for like the character pop-up for a little bit, but it's growing on me now.
Yeah. Well, we want to at least define, at least let the user kind of associate a specific color with a specific function.
Yeah, that's why it's still important to iron out the few that are remaining.
Yeah. So having pop-ups in cyan color just keeps everything more consistent. And I think it's like subconsciously doing that as well. Just need to make it slightly more consistent. Of course, eventually we'll have to examine the entire color scheme of the website and find a combination that isn't so horrendously bad contrast.
I think it's pretty good. Like, I think Go has set its own theme now that changing it would be a bad move. It's just working within the constraints of it.
Yeah, well, working within the constraint of it is always kind of a headache. I mean, but I guess the issue is eventually we're gonna have like 6 or 7 elements across the rainbow, and then you're trying to design website elements that somehow interact with those colors in a meaningful way. And I guess in a way where there are some contrasts which can't be easy.
The change of the main stat filters in the optimized page to the element colors has helped a lot, and with putting the box around the elements for like the VV set has made it pop out and stand out much better against the background.
Oh yeah, the VV set was egregiously long. I think creating that new format that Van designed was if anything inevitable. Oh, this. You gotta remember that you need to channel your ults. Yeah. Major improvement on the multi-select buff and stuff. Not sure if you're implying that you like the design, but I'm gonna take it as a compliment. Thank you. You can read it now as Pog. That's good. Yes. Yeah, we've the UI stuff we're always gonna have to fiddle with. It's something that we're always going to, if anything, struggle against.
Did it just randomly dose off? Come on.
Hmm?
No, nothing. Oh.
Looks like we've already discovered our first round of bugs after today's UI update.
No, I don't think it's duplicate key. I think it's because I stopped passing the conditional value into the conditional selector.
Oh yeah?
I think that's my best guess at least, because like now sometimes there are multiple conditional values, so
Alright.
I don't know if that's the issue or not. I guess it shouldn't be because I'm still loading the state before I populate the button.
Yeah, well, it might be, well, it's definitely gonna spend some time to look at it.
But I did notice that bug like when I transitioned from the previous conditional selector to like my new one, and then it never happened again, so I just figured it was like something with the state being maintained.
If you can't replicate it again, it means that it doesn't exist until someone else can replicate it.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, the multiple duration thing, I don't know. It would be complicated to fix it, I think.
yeah, this is still a bug. 2 VV debuff. Oh, in the same team?
Oh, like it stacks? Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
That's not true as well.
That's kind of the, how do we say, that's the rough patches of designing a system and then duct taping team buffs on top of it. We try to design a counter system that would account for this, but it doesn't work as well as we hoped it would. So yeah, kind of cope. We'll have to. So 2 VV debuff. At least a good thing is that if you know, you can always disable one versus the other. Maybe another thing we could do, and this might be more cope, is to associate the buff with the active character. Actually, no, that wouldn't work because then you still have a duplicate buff.
Yeah, I think the better solution is to make... Well, I don't know, but all the buffs need to be non-stackable, right? Except for like...
Yeah, well,
maybe a couple.
if anything, yeah, sorry, a lot of buffs shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the rule, but the exception that most of these buffs don't stack.
Yeah, it just so happens that Noblesse is the only one that mentions it, so we thought that was the exception.
So it might be the case that we just don't make these things stack. Yeah, Genshin writing is incredibly big. We literally have to read between the lines, and even then, most of the time we still have to defer to people who actually does the TC to actually give us data on these interactions. And one of the more difficult parts is that I think there's a ton of these information existing in the data mine, but currently there's only like a handful of people, even in terms of the Genshin dev sphere, who interact enough with the data mine to even understand where all the values are. And I think there definitely should be an effort made to, I guess, mine data within the data mine. And I know a lot of Genshin websites who, well, not even just Genshin websites, but Genshin apps, who interacts with the data mine, pretty much have to write their own pipeline to process the data mine into a more coherent format. And you know, things like the optimizer, or like things like the GSIM, really are trying to extrapolate pretty much the same data. At least there's a ton of overlap. And I don't like the fact that, especially for a new Genshin developer who's making their website or a calculator or something, either have to go through the hurdle of either writing their own pipeline for the data mine, or even worse, just copy movement values from Honey Impact or something ridiculous like that, just so they have close to working data that they could build a website off of. I feel like the wheel has been reinvented too much that should really collaborate or document a lot of this data mine data, or at least make it more accessible. I'm not sure what it would take to do that or how it would take to do that, but I feel like we as a developer community should be helping each other, not reinvent the wheel. So maybe it'd be something along the lines of when we designed the good format, we would just create more standardization within, I guess, Genshin development. I mean, even I think the current good data isn't perfect. We still never resolve what to do about Traveler. Do we keep Traveler as as a single character, or do we keep it as separate characters? You know, it's good thing they haven't made a good enough Traveler that people scrutinize this Traveler implementation on the website too much. But oh, it's scuffed. It's horrendously scuffed.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe eventually when they make Dendro Traveler, that it become best in slots. Become the new de facto Traveler international team or something like that. And when there's like more, when Traveler are under more scrutiny, people will inherently ask why does not Optimizer handle Traveler properly. Apparently, it's not high enough of priority to fix some of this stuff.
I'm still surprised though how many people ask to be able to switch the Traveler's gender. Because they just want to see Aether.
Alright, I think we're by default, we're still the female Traveler. The issue with it, the issue with that is that the Traveler is trying to adhere to our relatively strict character definition. I will have to make our character definition arbitrarily flexible just in the case of Traveler. And again, there's just not enough motivation. Okay, here's the meat and potatoes. Back in Chamber 3 again.
Yep, let's see what happens this time.
You're gonna have to dig back your Seed Zero Hu Tao days. I don't think these guys are standing together enough. We tried to knock one into the other.
Yeah, it went smooth enough. I would have liked another 5 seconds still though.
And we all. Well, let's see how it works on the second chamber.
Maybe with the addition of Rosaria I can just burst them down faster.
Yeah, well, Rosaria should compensate for that lack of that crit card. Oh, look at them standing together. Yes.
逃げようなんて思わないでよね。風雪の縮図。諦め。眠るの。
Oh, I believe.
Yeah, Rosario was the answer all along.
Who knew?
一緒に遊ぼうよ。部外者禁止。
Dang. Now, I guess if we, if we started this from the beginning, we should have just done this.
Oh, keep forgetting about Rosario because I just don't use her anymore. But then every second week I have to come back to your account and realize she's probably one of your strongest characters.
I think she is. Well, I think she is borderline my strongest character. If it wasn't for Raiden, or I
I
guess
think
Noelle
I
might be
may
lost.
have stolen a whole bunch of artifacts off her though recently, so she might not be as stonk as she used to be.
Oh no, you bastard!
So what is she? 77, 133. Got a heap of attack though, and then of course all that physical damage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's not even using a level 20 Sands anymore.
Damn. You
What if I put her
really,
at the top of the priority list and see what happens?
Oh yeah, showcase the priority list feature.
So, where is Rosario? Here she is. And whack her at the top. And... does she need a default amount of ER? Like, is there something we should force? Like, I've been using 125 just to have some.
Don't think so. With the Rosaria, you don't. I mean, I actually, if you're using her as like a cryo support Rosaria, it would be nice to at least have some ER.
But as a physical dealer, like your Rosario is, maybe not. So
Not necessarily, but I guess even as a physical dealer, you could still use her as a cryo support.
well, let's just see what your best build picks up.
Like you could still use her as like a secondary damage dealer, off-field crit supplier.
So 2 pale, 2 blood, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You actually went down significant, or not significantly, 7% in crit damage, but gained some attack. So I suppose
I guess what was Rosaria? You actually do want a somewhat inflated crit rate value,
yeah.
even
Interesting.
even if you're sacrificing a bit of overall damage. So we're not blindly adhering to the biggest number on optimizer here.
Yeah, so even though the crit damage went down slightly, it's still a better build on non-crit and crit hits, and you've got 0.4% more crit rate. So
Now,
the best build
who's
is
she
better.
stealing those artifacts from?
Eula, Kazuha, and Xingqiu.
Stealing from Xingqiu is one I kind of hesitate, but the rest I don't care.
Yeah. But I mean, the difference isn't that big. It's only 500 damage per hit, so that's where you come into the priority list. Is like, is this enough of an increase for Rosaria to justify ruining 3 other characters?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. Like, my Eula has always been neglected simply because I find her to be kind of a. Oh gosh, if I finish that sentence, we're just never gonna get any viewers. So I'm not gonna finish that sentence. But like. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take artifacts from Xingqiu. I think Xingqiu is just too strong as a 5-star character.
Yeah, it's hard to determine where to put your supports, especially strong ones like Xingqiu and Bennett, in the priority list. Like, should they be above your hyper carries, below them, but above your other carries? Where do you put them? Because you don't want to steal their best artifacts. Because even though they're not doing damage, Xingqiu still does damage. Even though they're not doing your bulk damage, you still need them to be doing that sustained DPS.
I say the case of Xingqiu, where he pretty much fits in with any team. it's not a good idea to scuttle him. Is Leyland's overflow still going around?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that day you tried to and then didn't have any resin. That was the last day, and then I forgot to do it, so you missed one day of it.
Oh well, whatever. I think my account is still overfilled on Mora and XP
Yeah,
books.
you're up to 12 million, not 1.2, 12 million more an hour.
Yeah.
So that Abyss
I
run
think,
popped us over.
yeah. Wait, Abyss run gives you Mora?
Yeah.
What?
Actually, did I even claim it? I don't think I claimed it. Maybe it wasn't the Abyss run that did it. There we go. 60,000
Oh,
more per chamber.
oh wow. I think all I paid attention to was the primal gems.
Where's that new artifact?
Gonna cope Roy on stream. Get that stream luck.
Yep. I don't have enough fodder to even roll this. But,
Oh wow.
oh, what's this? Is this shit? No, I better keep that. What about this?
Just put in that 20% crit rate artifact. Useless.
Oh, is this cope?
Oh, you
Energy
kind of
recharge. I guess energy recharge is okay on Herbalist.
might be a bit cope, yeah. At this point, you probably have a better mind of my artifacts than I do.
It's something plus 20 that's just not worth doing. That's good. Oh, physical. Oh, I hate this artifact, even though it's not bad. I just hate it. Physical damage goblet on Thunder Soother with rolls into flat attack. Sorry, flat
Yeah.
HP.
I mean,
And
yeah.
it's usable, but I just don't like it.
I understand where you're coming from.
Good. That's good.
I
Ooh,
guess no
do I
cope for.
risk this one? Do I risk it? No rolls
Oh
into
my.
crit rate into this artifact that could potentially go very bad because they're all flat stats with it.
Mm.
Trade one for the other. Need to find something that's gone horrendously bad, but I think I've spotted most of those ones already. Actually, does this have a use? Guess it kind of does. Elementary Mastery Wanderer's Circlet with heaps of attack.
I mean, honestly, that's a keep. That's a keeper for me.
Oh, and that's just too good for Noel if you ever went to a Petra piece. Geo,
Yeah.
Petra Goblet with heaps of defense. That's a
Ah,
really good piece for Noel.
I think that was a piece on the wall at one point in time, and then like it got swapped onto Ningguang, and then I don't know what happened here. I don't think my Noel's running Petra anymore, or
I put her back onto Petra.
oh
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. She's back on Bolide, not on Petra.
oh yeah, Bolide is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I'd buy the teapot artifact XP, maybe? Maybe there's some there.
Hmm. Are you gonna go on like a artifact pack run?
Oh, everyone's almost done. They're all on level 9. I'll be trapped in the teapot. Yeah, I have bought it already. Oh well. Could go farm some random stuff and get some fodder.
I think you're coping too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you played enough Genshin for today, honestly.
I
If you're
think I
getting
have
to
as
the
well.
point, yeah, I think it's getting to the point where you're like rage honing. But also, I think I've reached the limit in which I can talk into
Into
or
the
talk to
abyss.
people. Nice pun.
But how long have we been going? What's the...
We'll be going for 2 hours 31 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a decent time anyway.
Yep. I think most of our viewers are already asleep. But yeah, let's end this stream here. I think I've run out of talking point to say, and I haven't remembered any of my old stand-up material, so awkward silences abound.
I
And
don't think there's... if there's no more questions from anyone still listening, I guess...
yeah, and
Because
if you have
maybe
more
next time we have
questions,
some talking points, so this doesn't happen. Even though we talked
yeah.
about having talking points this time and we didn't do it.
I wonder if we just do away with this this podcast channel thing. Let's talk. Let's just do it on like the. Let's just sorry. Let's just have like a stream voice call. Because like right now, I think a lot of people are either listening into the podcast, but they have to mute the stream, or they're watching the stream and they're still somehow in the podcast, which is a bit of redundancy for no reason.
Yeah, and if we break out the voice call into a normal channel, we can have the talking heads back into the stream. So then
yeah,
people
the
that don't know
talking
our
heads.
voices will be able to associate names with voices.
Yeah, because they'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know the developers of the optimizer is fucking Australian."
Do I really sound that Australian? I try and hide it.
Do you
G'day,
actually try
cobber.
to hide it?
Would you like to throw a prawn on the barbie, mate?
I was just about to say that. Oh man.
Fucking true blue, eh? No,
Now you just need to
no.
just need to fit in the word Sheila somewhere, and then you're like full Australian.
Oh, I can't do it. It's too cringe. I hate my country.
Oh. It's okay. Yeah, so yeah, we'll probably change the format a bit next time. Just join the Twitch. We'll answer yeah, we'll answer everything on Twitch and maybe a no mic channel, and I'll host this VOD in case you missed it onto my YouTube channel, which I recently discovered was full of my unlisted Minecraft Let's Plays, which is so incredibly and horrifyingly, disappointingly horrifying. I think I just said the word horrifying twice. That's just how bad it is. That
was horrifying and disappointing.
And disappointing.
Yeah.
And somehow I sound pretty much the same, except more of an Asian accent. So
You've leveled
either
up.
way.
Is your power over 9,000 now?
Yeah, but yeah, I've repurposed that channel to just upload all the VODs for now, and maybe I don't know some other. Maybe I'll get back into playing Let's Plays so I could stop working on the optimizer for so long and just let Vaughn take my job. Since maybe I could finally get started on one of my 1,300 Steam games.
What, so you actually haven't
I'll
played
run
them,
it
you just
into the
keep
ground.
buying them.
You run into the ground. This is why I can't trust people. The moment I try to walk away, you're gonna probably implement something like crit value or max potential or something.
Just collab with I Win to Lose and put the whole max potential in.
Jesus Christ. That website is like the pinnacle of cope. Like, no offense to him and how much effort he did contribute towards that website, but oh my goodness. Like, like any TCers with some sort of mathematic integrity wouldn't put a website like that.
I think he's a content creator and YouTuber first, and I think that's fine. His videos are entertaining, but yeah.
Guess so. Yeah. That's kind of the hard part, isn't it? It's hard to be a TCer with kind of like the boring convention or the content creator with all the hot takes. It seems to be diametrically opposed. Somehow only
Like-
Jinx have done it well.
Like you look at Zajeff, he does some good TC content, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
watch his videos and no offense against him, but he's sitting in what looks like his kitchen with a pair of broken headphones. It's
know.
just so funny.
Look, I love Jeff. He's like the Gordon Ramsay of Genshin TC, right? But like, yeah, so his setup be a bit scuffed. Maybe that's why he's so bloody endearing.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyways, yeah, I wish I talked about ending the stream like 7 minutes ago, and we're still here. I think we're like one of those like teenagers on a phone call trying to prompt each other to hang up, and that
You
hasn't
hang up
happened yet.
first.
You hang up first. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna raid the channel, and then we'll work from there. Are you? Oh, are you actually doing something interesting on stream now? What the hell?
It's not interesting, I'm just killing time.
Oh, oh, well, it's just hypostasis. Okay, let's find it.
You actually have the controls to raid someone? Who are you going to raid?
I don't know. I don't know.
Raid it
This-
without,
this is
what,
probably-
3 viewers, which is just us?
Probably, but yeah, I feel like it's a waste if I don't press that. If I have the opportunity to press a button that does something that's like zero-sum cost, why not?
When you could raid a big streamer and have them shout out the channel, which will get people to come to the Optimizer.
Oh yeah, hey, who knew? I don't know any of these people. That's the issue. I don't actually watch Twitch streams. Oh, so much. So now let's see. Like I mean, definitely don't send you guys to a Lost Ark streamer. Do have a bit of respect. Do I know any of these people? If I don't know any of these people, I kind of feel awkward. Like shouting at someone in a crowd thinking you knew them, and then they turn around, it's a completely stranger's face. Oof. Yeah, I don't know any of these people. Why isn't KQM streaming? Why isn't it's a Jeff or like Jason or someone streaming? Where are my Genshin TCer boys?
Playing Lost Ark.
I think
Oh,
sometimes if you raid with too small of a party, it doesn't even show up in the chat. Like they might not even see it.
I think I raided the KQM once with like 2 members in the chat, and somehow that was enough. Maybe it's like a ratio sort of thing, eh?
Maybe
if
it's
they're
up
like
to
a
the
2,000
other
viewers.
streamer. Maybe it's up to the other streamer how many viewers in a raid has to count towards the message showing.
Yeah, I think it is on the streamer who's getting raided to control.
Yeah.
Sag.
There doesn't seem to be many well-known Genshin streamers actually on at the moment. Must be an odd
I
time.
know. It is an odd time. Maybe that's how we capitalize on having more than just 3 like viewers.
Also, what are they even playing? There's, you know, not much.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Russian streamer with Genshin Optimizer in his VOD. Except he isn't streaming. Man, I've not had the chance to like just Google or well, not Google, search up Genshin Optimizer on Twitch, and it's a very disappointing amount of returned results.
It's probably just the Kokomi mains molding.
Should I just direct y'all to Tectone? Except I don't. I feel like this is a disservice, honestly. Is he doing that like? Is he still doing that like sleeping stream?
I haven't watched Tectone in... I can't even remember.
Okay, I guess we just end the stream here. Social anxiety is too much right now.
You gonna have an interesting outro?
I don't know. What, like and subscribe, and visit our website, the Optimizer, for your best rainbow build of the week.
You can start plugging your Patreon and then say that your top donors will get their features implemented.
Yeah, no, thank you. Imagine if you could pay money to me to implement crit value. Yeah, like, no, thank you. No
How much would that have
amount
to
of
be?
money.
What's the price on that?
No amount
Everyone
of
has a
money will
price.
let me. Exactly. I think Optimizer is running at a loss right now. I am perfectly fine with that. I'd rather run at a loss than implement something as arbitrary as crit value. Oh well. Anyways, yeah, let's just end it unsurreptitiously here. Preferably in like the middle of a sentence.
Well, I'll press the button then.
Go
See
for
you
it.
all next time.